Why some men become emotional backups without realizing it. Most men don't wake up one morning and realize, I am someone's emotional backup. It doesn't happen like that. There is no warning sign, no official label, no clear moment where someone tells you, you are not the main person in my life. Instead, it develops slowly, silently, in a way that feels completely normal at first. You meet someone, you talk, you connect. Everything feels light and natural. She laughs at your messages. She responds. She shows interest. She makes time for you. And because everything feels good in the beginning, you assume something real is forming. But then something starts to shift, not in a dramatic way, in small, almost unnoticeable changes. She becomes less consistent. Replies take longer. Energy becomes unpredictable. Sometimes she is warm. Sometimes she is distant. But she never fully leaves. And this is where most men get stuck. Because nothing is clearly wrong. But nothing is clearly right either. You are not rejected. But you are not chosen. You're not blocked. But you are not prioritized. You're simply there, present in her life, but not central in it. And over time, without realizing it, you step into a role you never consciously agreed to. The emotional backup role. The person she talks to when it is convenient. The person she returns to when she is bored. The person she leans on when she needs emotional support. But not the person she builds with. Not the person she chooses consistently. And not the person she prioritizes. And the hardest part is this. It does not feel like rejection. It feels like possibility. And possibility is what keeps most men stuck for far too long. So let's break down how this happens. 1. You become too available without real boundaries. One of the first steps into this situation is availability without structure. You're always there, always replying, always responding quickly, always present when she reaches out. At first, this feels like a good thing. You think, if I am consistent, she will see my value. But what often happens is the opposite. Because when someone realizes you are always available, they stop feeling urgency. They stop feeling pressure to invest. Not because they don't like you, but because nothing is required from them. There is no effort needed to keep you around. There is no fear of losing you. There is no space. And without space, emotional tension disappears. And without emotional tension, attraction dynamics often weaken over time. So slowly, your availability stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like expectation. 2. You accept inconsistent effort as normal. This is where things become dangerous. At first, you notice the inconsistency. She replies fast sometimes, then disappears, then comes back like nothing happened, then goes silent again. But instead of addressing it or stepping back, you adjust to it. You tell yourself, she's just busy. She has a lot going on. That's just how she is. And slowly, inconsistency stops feeling like a red flag. It becomes normal. And once inconsistent effort becomes normal, you lose your internal standard. Because what you tolerate becomes your reality. So instead of requiring balance, you start accepting imbalance. And that shift is where emotional backup status begins to form. 3. You are giving emotional support without emotional reciprocation. This is one of the biggest hidden patterns. You become her safe space. The person she vents to. The person she talks to when she is stressed. The person she shares her emotions with. And again, there is nothing wrong with being supportive. But here is the key difference most men miss. Support without reciprocation creates imbalance. You're giving emotional energy, but not receiving the same level of emotional investment back. So the dynamic becomes one-directional. You are the emotional provider. She is the emotional receiver. And over time, this role becomes fixed, not because anyone planned it, but because it was never corrected. 4. You ignore the lack of progression. Another major sign is stagnation. Think about it honestly. Where is the relationship going? Is it moving forward? Is it becoming clearer? Is it developing into something defined? Or has it stayed the same for months? Many men ignore this question because they focus on connection instead of direction. They think, we talk every day, so it must mean something. But talking is not progress. Comfort is not progress. Familiarity is not progress. Movement is progress. And if nothing is moving forward over time, that itself is information. But emotional attachment often blinds people from seeing stagnation clearly because they confuse presence with growth. 5. You confuse occasional attention with consistent interest. This is where emotional attachment becomes strongest. She gives you moments, a good conversation, a sweet message, a random check-in, a burst of attention, and every time that happens, your hope resets. You think, maybe things are improving, but consistency is what defines interest, not moments. Anyone can give attention occasionally, but not everyone invests consistently. And the difference between those two is what separates real connection from emotional confusion. But when you're emotionally involved, you start holding on to moments instead of patterns. And that is how emotional backups stay emotionally attached for long periods of time. 6. You avoid clarity because you don't want to lose access. This is one of the most important reasons. Deep down, you feel something is unclear. You sense imbalance. You notice inconsistency, but you avoid confronting it because clarity comes with risk. If you ask for clarity, you might lose access. If you step back, she might not come closer. So instead of choosing clarity, you choose comfort. But comfort without clarity keeps you stuck in emotional uncertainty. And uncertainty is what maintains the emotional backup position, because nothing is ever fully defined. So nothing can ever fully end. 7. You start building potential in your mind instead of reality. This is the final stage. You stop focusing on what is actually happening and start focusing on what could happen. She might change. Things could improve. We have potential, and potential is very powerful because it feels like progress that hasn't happened yet. But the longer you live in potential, the more disconnected you become from reality. And reality is what actually determines your position in someone's life. Not hope, not imagination, not what could be, but what consistently is. Why this role is so hard to see? Because it doesn't feel like rejection. It feels like almost something, almost a relationship, almost progress, almost importance. And almost is what traps most men emotionally, because it gives enough hope to stay, but not enough clarity to move on. What you should understand, being emotionally available is not the problem, but being emotionally available without direction, boundaries, or reciprocity creates imbalance. And imbalance over time creates confusion. And confusion leads to attachment without clarity, which is exactly how emotional backup roles are formed. Not through one moment, but through repeated patterns that go unchallenged. If there is one thing to take from this video, it is this. Never stay in a role that was never clearly defined. Because relationships don't grow from confusion. They grow from clarity. They grow from effort on both sides. They grow from direction. And when those things are missing for too long, you're not building connection. You are maintaining an illusion of one. And the longer you stay in that position, the harder it becomes to see it for what it really is. Click the subscribe button, like, share, and follow for more.